Today in the first reading we've heard the shameful sin of David. Sometimes people say, the higher you climb, the harder you hit when you fall. And that happened to David. David was the anointed. David got everything right. David won all of his wars. The hand of God was with David. Whatever David did, he had success. He wasn't perfect before today, but today he fell pretty hard. And normally when we think about the sin of David, we think about, oh, he slept with Bathsheba. But I think there's something much worse going on with David. And it's his desire to cover up. His desire to lie so that nobody finds out about what he did. Because if he committed a sin and he came clean and he confessed and he was humble, like everything would have ended there. But he committed a sin, and then he committed a sin on top of a sin to try to cover up for what he did. First, he wanted Uriah to come back from war to sleep with his wife so that his sin would be covered up. And when then that didn't work, then he had to kill him. And that's a reminder of how each one of us can fall into that spiral of lies and deceit. I do something wrong, but then I want to cover up what I did, and then I have to cover up what I did, and then I have to cover up what I said. And then we're in a horrible spiral of lies and deceits. And that's what happened to David, because he was unwilling to humble himself. He was unwilling to say, I messed up. But you know what they say? You got two choices in life. Either you humble yourself or life humbles you. And because David chose not to humble himself, the prophet Nathan would humble him, or life would humble him. So today that we see this webs of lies and deceits in the great King David, to me, it's just a reminder of the importance of living in utter sincerity and honesty. Today, when I was meditating this reading, for me, it was totally timely. You know why? Because it was right before I had spiritual direction. Like, I was gonna have a meeting with my own spiritual director. And it was so timely because it really brought me to the right place spiritually. Humble yourself. Don't try to cover up anything. Show yourself as you are. And then God works in your life. So today, brothers and sisters, let me ask you this question. In any way, are you living in lie or deceit? Is there any way that you're trying to cover up, to make up for your shortcomings, trying to appear not as bad as you really are? Remember, either you humble yourself or life humbles you. And it's so beautiful to live in utter sincerity and honesty. So let's learn from King David. And let us pray to God that He helps us live as a child of the light and of God in truth and in sincerity and honesty.